Chase Claypool rumored to be an Eagles trade target. But why? Why, oh why would Howie Roseman want to go trade for him when he could get him for free? Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So you think the Eagles are going to go out and make a trade before the trade deadline? I certainly do. But is the wide receiver position a position which the Eagles would actually consider making a move for? I think it actually is. I think it's one of the three most likely positions they would get into. But before we talk about it, if you're new to the channel, you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled, pause, Eagles content creator in all of the internet. If you've been subscribed for a while, I just want to thank you guys so much for all the support you give to me. If you don't mind, just check, make sure your notifications are on there. Your subscribe button is still subscribed. Just double check, double moonwalk check. Make sure you're good to go. Now, it's been actually a very interesting, I'd say, past 48 hours for the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, yesterday, we were all celebrating the fact that the Eagles are 4-0. The Eagles are 4-0. And I guess maybe I should say some of us are celebrating the fact that the Eagles are 4-0. There's a lot of people who are really killing the Eagles right now for being 4-0 because they didn't win pretty enough, or they haven't looked good from start to finish. A lot of people expect them to peak right now at the beginning of October, and to me, I see the silver line in it. Listen, are we playing as smooth as we played at the beginning of last year? No, maybe not. However, if you remember last year, it wasn't without problems. You remember when we were 4-0, 5-0 early on in that season, we had come out. We would build up these humongous leads by the second half, and then we would give them away. We would give these leads away, and all of a sudden, you're pacing back and forth in the fourth quarter because the Eagles were about to blow a 20-point lead, a 24-point lead here. We were up 20-0 on Dallas. We were totally destroying them, and we took the foot off the gas. So last year was with struggles as well, maybe just a little differently. And I actually think, and maybe I'm crazy, but I actually think the way in which the Eagles are winning now early is really going to help us in the long run. I think these are hard-fought quality wins where the Eagles are having to play 4 quarters, having to gut it out, having to do what they can in the fourth quarter to win these games. I think it builds character, and I think it's a lot easier than blowing. I think it builds something for the future a lot easier than just blowing a bunch of teams out. Because when you blow a bunch of teams out, one of the things you always have to worry about is what do you do? What happens when it's a tight game? That you really don't know till you're in it. So I think this team is building a lot of character. I do think that they're getting better, and I think you got to give Washington credit. They played a great game, and for whatever reason, they always give us trouble in Washington. So as the Cowboy fans sit there and they celebrate that they won by a margin of victory versus the Patriots bigger than the Eagles won, somehow they think that makes them better. Totally ignoring the fact that they lost to maybe the worst team in football a few weeks before. It's a long season, and the Eagles are getting better. And there are areas in which I think that they're going to have to improve. We've talked about safety. We've talked about linebacker, although things are getting interesting at the linebacking position. We should actually talk about this for a second. If you look at the linebacking position, we all thought Nakobe Dean was going to be the starter, and he was supposed to be. He gets hurt, and that opened the door for Nicholas Morrow. Now, Nicholas Morrow, I thought in preseason, I thought he was okay. It wasn't anything great. But what he has done since he's taken over at that starting spot has been nothing short of phenomenal. He is playing really, really good football. And when Nakobe Dean's ready to come back, he's going to have to be a backup. You cannot take Nicholas Morrow out of the starting position, because right now he's making plays. You can say what you want about T.J. Edwards and how great T.J. Edwards was for us last year. I don't remember a game last year where T.J. Edwards had 3 sacks. I don't remember where he had 3 sacks, and then the week before that he has a safety, 11 tackles in the last game. I think Nicholas Morrow has been fantastic. I also think Zach Cunningham has been a total steal. Sorry if I'm losing my voice a little bit. It was from last night's Giant debacle, which was one of the most enjoyable streams I've ever had. I just have to say that. But I am losing my voice from it because we were screaming at the TV and the stinkiness of one Daniel Jones. So I think the linebacking situation may actually be starting to be better than we thought. We get Nakobe Dean back. We do have some depth there all of a sudden. I think really you have to turn your attention to the safety position and to the wide receiver position, because I think the safety position, look, Edmonds really disappointed me. Edmonds really disappointed me with his performance. The fact that he just dropped, I mean, the most easiest interception you'll ever get. It concerns me. Now, Evans didn't play and Sidney Brown didn't play, but are the Eagles really comfortable with those guys to go the rest of the year? I'm thinking maybe if they don't think Sidney Brown is ready right now, maybe the best thing to do is go out, try to get a Budda Baker, try to get a Jeremy Chin, and get one of those guys in here. And even if it's for just 1 year, I'm totally okay if you want to go out and get Jeremy Chin for the rest of the year and then let him walk and hand the job or give the job to Sidney Brown because you think he's ready. I'm willing to do that. I think Reed Blankenship has been pretty good. And, you know, when I look at this defense and I look at the struggles we have had on defense, to me, the problem isn't a talent problem. The talent problem is not us. The problem is a schematic problem. The problem is the way the Eagles play their defense. It's the way that their corners are lining up. They're not really playing complementary football with their front and their secondary. It's not complementary. You can't blitz on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and have your corners 8 or 9 yards back. It's not going to work. It's an easy out for any quarterback to just get rid of that ball, you know, throw the ball 3-4 yards, and then you get to run another 3 yards, you got the first down. It's too easy. The Eagles need to make adjustments, and they need to let their secondary help that defensive line. All of a sudden, you will see the Eagles you'll see the defense start to get home, start to get sacks. They get a ton of pressures. Josh Sweat had like 11, I forget, it was 11, 12 pressures. It was like the most since Fletcher Cox did it a few years back against Carolina. They get pressures. Jalen Carter, he gets some of the most pressures in the NFL right now. They're not getting home because the quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball quick. Part of the problem is the secondary and the corners play too far back. If you watch that game last night, okay, the Seattle Giants game, it was very apparent, it was very simple after about 2 series to see the Giants basically ran pretty much the same 3-4 routes every series. And I was saying, I don't know why Seattle just doesn't jump the route. They need to just jump the route. It's a pick six. And the very next play, boom, they jump the route and it's a pick six because they saw it coming. But they played their corners up. They weren't afraid to get up and play those corners up at the line of scrimmage. Part of it, there's no threat with the Giants. But I think that giving up an occasional big play because you're a little aggressive at the line of scrimmage, I think it's worth the risk. And I think it'll help the Eagles a lot. That's the problem with defense, okay? But if we could add another safety, I think that would definitely go a long way. And you know, the receiver and you know is a whole nother thing because Quez Watkins is hurt with a hamstring. He's really done nothing for us. Not preseason, not this year. He was invisible last year. Then you have Oz, who comes in, has a touchdown last game. I thought Oz has done a pretty decent job filling in for Quez Watkins, and I think he's probably your number 3 wide receiver. However, I think if you have an opportunity to upgrade it, especially if you could get somebody with some speed that could be a deep threat, you do it. And there's a lot of talk about Chase Claypool right now. When you look at Claypool, he's with Chicago, And to me, it's very hard to judge talent that's on the Chicago roster. They don't use their players right. Even Tampa Bay Buccaneers' Devin White was saying to the Bears after the game, like, they're not using you guys right. They don't use you right. They don't use you right. They don't know what they're doing. And it's true. And now the Bears have had Chase Claypool, who they got from Pittsburgh, and he's basically done nothing there. And it's gotten to the point where he is now a healthy scratch. He's legitimately a healthy scratch. And yes, he's done nothing with Chicago, but I don't think that's because Claypool stinks. I think that's because the Chicago Bears stink. Okay? So Chase Claypool was a healthy scratch this past Sunday. They told him, you can show up to the game or you can stay home. He chose to stay home. It looks like Chase Claypool's days in Chicago are over. And there was a report, I guess it was by Matt Lombardo, NFL, saying that he thinks the Eagles could be a team that potentially trades for him. I got somebody here who wants to come hang out with me. Wants to jump over onto my lap. Say hello. Say hi. Hey. So my buddy's gonna sit with me as long as he wants to. But who is it? It was Heisenberg. This is Heisenberg. Heisenberg had a big bald spot from the mom, kept biting the head, and he kind of looked like Walter White, so I call him Heisenberg. What's up, Heisenberg? But anyways, Matt Lombardo, I guess he said the Eagles potentially could be somebody that goes out and gets Chase Claypool. Here's what he said. Trending, the Pound the Eagles, not hashtag, Pound Chiefs, Pound Lions, are teams that could view the Bears wide receiver Chase Claypool as a quality backup or depth piece in the NFC East, Scout told Matt Lombardo. Quote, no one is going to pay a high price for Chase Claypool. I don't know which team would even really need him. But if you look at teams like Philadelphia or Kansas City, maybe even Detroit, teams making a championship run could view him as a quality backup and depth piece. So they're talking about potentially trading for Chase Claypool, and it wouldn't cost you that much. I would go a step further. I don't think you need to make a trade with Chase Claypool unless you want to secure his services. I think you can actually just wait for him to get cut. I think he's actually going to get cut by the Bears, and you don't have to give them anything. I would much rather use my resources to trade for a safety than to trade for Chase Claypool. However, I do think Chase Claypool is better than he's been in Chicago. I'm not saying he's the greatest guy in the world, but he's fast and he's big, okay? Guy's 25 years old. He's, I believe, 6'4", and he ran like a 4.4. So he ran some ridiculous combine number. I forget exactly what it was. He's only got 4 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown this year. His days in Chicago are over. But with his speed, I think he could be a guy that comes in as a third receiver, put him in the slot. I think he could be a deep threat for you. He could give you that element that Oz can't. Plus, like I said, he's pretty big. You know, they've got him at, 1.93 meters. How big is that? Let me see if I can get this stupid Siri. Hey, Siri. No, it never works. See? Hold on. Let me see. Okay, sorry. It was going to bother me. I had to double check. Yeah, it's 6'4". He's 6'4", 240 pounds, basically. 6'4", 238 pounds. He ran a really good 40. He definitely has speed. I actually like the idea of Chase Claypool if you could get him for very, very cheap, or you could get him as a free agent once he gets cut. He may be a perfect guy to bring in as a depth piece for the Philadelphia Eagles. They need another wide receiver because you can't count on Quez Watkins. So I do find that interesting. I do think, though, that overall a safety is a much more important piece for the Eagles because I think you could use another starter. This would be a depth piece. But I like the way Oz has played, don't get me wrong. But a Chase Claypool, somebody with his size and speed, could be a great addition. I really don't view what Chase Claypool did with Chicago as something to judge him by because everybody stinks. Everybody, right? What do you think, Heisenberg? Everybody stinks. Everybody stinks in Chicago. You go to Chicago, you're going to stink. If you look at his first 2 years in the league, actually, so his first 2 years, his rookie year, he had 62 catches, 873 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's not bad. Then in his second year, he had 59 catches, 105 yards. Then he only played in 8 games with Pittsburgh, and he had 32 catches. Then it goes from 32, then he goes to Chicago, and he has 14 receptions, and then 4 this year. Chase Claypool may be a guy that would be a surprise signing, somebody that could actually come in and contribute. I don't think you need to trade for him, though. I think you just need to wait till he gets cut. Chances are, if Claypool gets cut, a team like the Eagles or Kansas City is going to be a very, very attractive destination. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. With that said, you should see me later. Take care. Talk to you later. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Go Phillies. Go Phils. Big night tonight for the Phils. Go Phils. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. So the NFC East is interesting. It really is. You got the Eagles 4-0. You got the Dallas Cowboys 3-1. You got Washington 2-2, and you got the New York Giants 1-3. The Giants are done. You can stick a fork in them. They're done. They got Miami and Buffalo, both in Miami and in Buffalo the next 2 weeks. That's going to take them to 1-5. Then they got to play the Commanders. I know they've beaten the Commanders in the past. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble with them this year. I think the Giants are done. What we're going to have to worry about with the Giants is we're going to have to worry the Giants don't get the number 1 pick and take a quarterback. That's going to be the issue. But Giants are done. Washington, I think Washington is going to depend a lot on how continues to play. We know Washington always plays Philadelphia good, so I don't know how much we can put in that. We kind of just have to wait and see. And then I expect Dallas to lose this week to the 49ers. So big game for the Eagles. We're going to talk about it all week. Got to beat the Rams. Got to get to 5-0. And you may have a two-game lead in the division if everything goes according to plan this week. I will be streaming the Giant game on Sunday, the Eagles game on Sunday, and the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night with the Dallas Cowboys Meltdown Cam. Denzel Washington out.